All right, what do you get when you combine a traveling exhibit from the Smithsonian with some local Connecticut flair? A great show that's now on display at the Connecticut Historical Society Museum and Library in Hartford.
It's called, ready for this, Patios and Pools. And in the cold of winter, it's nice to think about some warmer seasons.
Take a look.
I know, it's winter, but the Connecticut Historical Society Museum and Library has this great exhibit, Patios, Pools, and the Invention of the American Backyard. So I figured I'd dress for the part. Let's head inside and check it out. Hey!
Hey, Scott!
How are you, Eileen?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm just reading the Better Homes and Gardens Handyman's book, circa 1950s, early 60s, and I'm getting ready for the Patios and Pools tour.
Well, I hope you got some great ideas. I think let's go in and see the exhibit.
This sounds like fun. Let's do it.
There are several rooms dedicated to this exhibit.
This is an exhibit that's a traveling show from the Smithsonian, which we were really happy to bring here to the Connecticut Historical Society. And we did add in a few elements to give it a Connecticut flavor, but it tells a very American story that after World War II, with so many veterans returning home and prosperity in the 1950s, there was this real boom to have your own home. And we switched from having front porches, which were really communal spaces, to these private backyards where we built pools and we played games and we started grilling. And so the exhibit looks at all of that exciting times in the 50s. So one thing that was really part of this whole movement was this do-it-yourself mentality. And so magazines like Popular Mechanics or your Better Homes and Garden do-it-yourself manual, that really was meant to inspire the homeowner to take on these projects and that they could do it themselves. They didn't need to be a specialist, they didn't need to be a wood carver. They could, with a few tools and a screwdriver, build the best outdoor experience that they had. So here on this panel we talk about that. We have photographs of people building their own Adirondack chairs, and it was a real spirit in the 50s to do it yourself. So again, after World War II, there was this rise of being able to buy a home that was built with standardized parts, or that was made by these planners who were developing suburban communities. And so again, you didn't need to hire your own architect. They were already slightly mass-produced houses, which really reduced the cost. And one of the most famous communities was in Levittown, New York, in Long Island, where you're from.
We're very close.
And so Levitt & Sons had this great idea that they were going to build more than 17,000 houses and that they were going to create these communities and provide affordable housing for these young families. So it was a really great idea. However, they also were racist, and so they built into their community that these restrictive covenants that would not allow African Americans to move into Levittown. And so you create this tension in the suburbs between what has been called white flight, so middle-class white people moving out of urban environments to these new suburban communities, but African American people and other groups weren't allowed to move in. And that creates some of the economic divides that then we really see playing out in the civil rights movement in the 60s and continuing on to today. There were communities, though, that looked at this in a really different way, and one of them was right here in Connecticut. So we have the Village Creek community, which was founded in Norwalk, Connecticut in 1949. This man, Roger Wilcox, and about 30 other people were able to purchase 69 acres of waterfront property, and they wanted to build an inclusive community. And so when they did all of their planning documents, they specifically outlined that they wanted it to be mixed racially. And so they were considered one of the pioneers of integrated communities. Nice try.
Nice try. So this is another part of the exhibit, Eileen.
Right, because backyards are all about having fun and playing outdoor games. So it is winter. You might not be doing this in your own backyard.
Neither one of us.
Neither one of us.
Oh, very good.
We need more practice. But you can come in and spend a little time playing horseshoes or lawn darts, not the ones that are so dangerous back when we were kids.
Right, exactly.
But just have some fun and enjoy a few moments of at least fake backyard activity.
That's fun. And the pictures on the wall are all from Connecticut residents.
These are. So we did a call for photos online and people submitted their photos.
years.
All right, looks like neither one of us are going to win this horseshoe game.
Now let's give up.
Just move on. Eileen, more games to play in the backyard.
Yes, and this one made right here in Connecticut. So Wiffle Ball, I know I grew up playing
Me too,
Wiffle
absolutely.
Ball. And so this was invented in 1953 by David Mullaney, who saw his son struggling, and he thought there has to be a way to help his son learn how to hit a ball. And so he played around and came up with this invention, and now Wiffle Ball, still made in Shelton, Connecticut. So popular, great pastime for your backyard.
From the games people played to the pools people had.
Pools were so important in this time period because it showed off your increasing wealth as you moved to suburbia, and you could also monitor who comes into your private pool rather than going to a public pool. And so I love this quote from Popular Mechanics in 1955 that the luxurious swimming pool you've dreamed of may not be as much of a daydream as you think, because again, with that do-it-yourself attitude, whether it's putting up a little pop-up pool or even building something a little bit more substantial, the idea was that you could do it, and this was a dream that you could easily achieve.
A fascinating exhibit, just really fascinating. The Patios and Pools exhibit is on display until this Saturday, February 23rd at the Connecticut Historical Society Museum and Library, so go and check it out. You're going to be glad you did. For more information, please head to chs.org.